What's good? Believe it or not, I'm coming through with another video for you guys. You know, my channel Line Spirit on YouTube has got a description, and it's about hypersensitive men in particular. And let me share a message today that is going into this direction. So you need to understand something about this topic. You need to understand something about this topic to understand. You understand? Right, let's go. The thing is, you have not always been hypersensitive. You have always been sensitive in a naive way. Everybody's place where they come from is naive. We are born naive. Then something happens, and then we acquire knowledge, which changes perception, and perception is the world, changes the world. Now, children have protective mechanisms to protect their sleep. So when they need sleep and they sleep, there are mechanisms to keep them sleeping even though outside trouble is happening. Children have mechanisms to protect the vulnerable, valuable, unique, inner, most important part of them. The body has systems to protect the brain. There is this, here in this area, there is a certain barrier that does not let through poisons that are radiating in the rest of the body. The cells in your balls have a certain special protection because they are so important for creating life. So wherever you look, there are protective mechanisms. But when you go through enough force in the world, there is a trauma happening. You feel like hit by a Cybertruck. At some point, the protective mechanisms don't work, and you have a certain kind of an impact, a crisis. Your world is shattered. A make or break situation, a trauma. And this is exactly what forms, by the way. When this happens in childhood, it can form a DSM-5 personality disorder, but it can also create an empath. All right, a person that is too sensitive, so to say, that is learning to read energies and people. Anyway, these flies trigger me. Okay, now you have been sensitive all your life in a naive state, probably as an empath, whatever empath you want to call yourself. And yeah, you can call yourself Sigma, you can call yourself Heyoka empath, you can call yourself I'm the Pink Power Ranger, whatever you fits best. But be careful to not create a narcissistic false self. We're here for radical honesty with ourselves. This is the first step of working on yourself. People who cannot admit who they are and what they do and what mistakes they do, what happened to them, can't change themselves and are doomed to go in the same circles over and over again. So, let's be radically honest. We were in a naive state. We were sensitive in an innocent, childlike way. Something happened. Now we're hypersensitive. We had a crash with a Cybertruck. Life hit us too hard. We were humiliated. In this place where we now at, I recommend to you the YouTube creator Iron in the Soul and his serious humiliation ritual, then you know what I mean with humiliation. We have to go through these. Even it starts with small children. They already go through this, okay? And the thing, whatever happened to you that makes you hypersensitive, it can be, and I start to speak only of experience now, because this way I will not speak something that is wrong. And it can be that you have been exposed to highly competitive, disordered people, because the unhealthy competitiveness I'm speaking of means that these people compete about absolutely pointless things where there is, in a healthy social environment, no competition about. Fucking moron with a car. I shouldn't say this on YouTube. I'm regulated completely. This person has the legal license to drive here with a car, and thus it is absolutely agreeable. So when something like that traumatic experience happened to you, and you were exposed to highly competitive people in a pathological way, which means they compete about everything and at the same time don't invest themselves, which means they compete without competing. They compete without being, they dish out without the ability to take the same that they are dishing out. As a fake competition. It's a projected false self disturbing experience for you, because you will see that people do shameful things. They shame themselves, but they will be proud of it, and they will feel like they won something. They will celebrate when they have their victory over you, and this way they want to create this narration of winning and success, whatever it is. But for you it will only be very confusing, because you will see that there's no substance to it. It's like a person that is living out a delusional shared fantasy whatsoever. Anyway, when you have been exposed too long to this kind of people, you might then, as I call it, reactive education. It is coming from reactive abuse, which means you start to mirror the energy back to the people, treating them like they treat you. And reactive education means you educate yourself, because when people are very counterintuitive, when people act counterintuitive, confusing, delusional, you can't know about this, because when you're a healthy person coming from an empathetic lifestyle, from a different past, you are different, completely different, and this means you cannot understand a person that is fundamentally different, pathological DSM-5 person. You need external education, and this is what happens when you encounter this. You will educate yourself to make sense of all the gaslighting, to all the confusing experiences you made. And then you will understand them. At the same time, you will understand yourself much better. Anyway, the hypersensitivity, where does it come from? Because you educate yourself, your view of the world will be flipped upside down, changed completely. You will never see the world the same again. Because now it's so relieving. It's so, you feel like finally you understand everything that happens. Finally you understand these people treating you that way. You discover your strength, that you were always right and stuff like that. But at the same time, You will see the same things everywhere now, because you're an empath already. Plus, you now have these glasses on, these narcissistic awareness glasses, these seeing pathological, primitive, defensive mechanisms, behavior, animalistic behavior in people. You see all these psychological mechanisms everywhere now, and you will have to relearn to understand which grade of this is healthy, and you don't have to overreact to it, okay? So you will feel triggered when somebody overlooks you, when somebody crosses boundaries, when somebody does something that reminds you of the pathological things that you have experienced. But you have to remember, these people do everything a normal human being does, just in an extreme, pathological, twisted, delusional way. And this means that in everyday life you encounter the same things, but this doesn't mean you have to overreact. And it doesn't mean that you're the target of this, okay? So you have to admit to yourself you have a thin skin now, right? Look here, you see this? I think we don't see, there's a little bit here as well. This comes when you're doing push-ups on your fists every day, you get adaptation. And when you're hypersensitive, your skin is very thin and you need to get a thicker skin. I'm telling you one thing about hypersensitivity. I was on a birthday party with my daughter recently, and it was a double birthday party with a friend of her. And on this occasion, I cried. I shed tears there because my daughter told me, it was very nice for her, but she realized she did not get the same amount of presents, and she found this a little bit strange. I told her I take the full responsibility for this on myself, but I also told her that this is what can happen in life and it has nothing to do with her. And I cried, and I did not hide it from her. It was a crowded place and I was not ashamed to do this. What I want to say is, being sensitive is very important and is a quintessential part of human existence. This is why I did not hide it from her. I want to show that she is experiencing an important life lesson. And it has nothing to do with her personally, okay? Instead, I told her that this happens to the best of us, okay? Yet, because we experience certain experiences in life, and we have the education now, and we're wearing these glasses, we might be overly easy triggered by things that are quite normal or not that, not targeted to hurt you. In other words, you need to learn to care less, okay? Care less. Care about yourself. Do your things. Let others do what they do. Exercise to create boundaries and immediately defend your boundaries. When somebody does something, reframing what you have said, trying to suggest other people that you said something else, whatever they do, stop them, cross them, say, there, you are doing this, no, I said this, and which means, this means you take care of how others perceive you, and after this, whatever they do is their business, it's not your business. right? So I hoped I could give you some inspiration. I'm not here to give you finished recipes for everything, but to put your awareness on this radical honesty with yourself. What has happened? What is the case? And what do you need to do to be that person that you want to be?